Hello guys, I'm Futureal. I stream 5 days a week over on twitch.tv/Futureal. And in this video, it is the last beta testing video from the Project Diablo 2 Season 6. It is time for the Amazon, and we're going to test 3 builds just like before. And don't forget to check out the description underneath. There's going to be links to all the other characters, including the early game build video, and there's going to be timestamps to all the builds in this video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe, and also don't forget to comment down below what you think about this video project. Until the next time, take care, and I will see you soon. Time to test the first build of the last character, the Amazon, and it is a oldie but goldie. We didn't test this build in the previous season, or we didn't showcase it, so we're going to do it now. It is the Lightning's Fury. You can see it without me hovering the items, what we are playing here. But let's go over it real quick. We have the same elemental DPS mercenary as before, with the Levy, Laying of Hands, String, Gores, and Vamp Gaze with the Cham to make up for the fact that we don't have corruptions, and then also the Infinity. Character CTA Lidless, Storm Shield, T-Strokes, Griffin, High Lords, Enigma, BK, Wisp, T-Gods, 220 Gloves, and Water Walks. So we have done some jank stuff with some Jewels and Cham Rune here because we don't have corruptions. We also had to add some Life Fire Res small charms because we couldn't go full large charms because of the lack of Fire Res. You see here our Fire Res is only 89. So with live servers, with having corruptions, you would probably not need to have these small charms, and you could go full large charms for this Javazon. It is in fact better DPS than having skillers in Season 6. The rest of the inventory is just Annie and Torch. And the build is pretty standard. We went the semi-Fury build, where we don't put points in Lightning Strike for Power Strike. We just boost Lightning's Fury. So we go Lightning's Fury Max, Lightning Bolt, and Power Strike. We have nothing in bow, and in passive we have maxed Pierce because we don't have corruptions, as I mentioned before. You would normally not have to do that because you're going to have either Pierce on the amulet or on the gloves, and then you have attack speed on the belt. So it is a little bit of a jank build right now, so you don't need to follow the gear 100% because you're going to have to take into account corruptions. So but it's a really good starting point. So then the rest is 1 point in Penetrate and Critical Strike. We took Valkyrie up to 19, so we get to 20 and get the 2 Valkyries with Battle Command. And all of the other ones are 1 skill, and then we dumped the rest of the points we had remaining in Evade for more movement speed and chance to evade. So let's check out what we can do. We have opened a Tier 3 Sewers map with 230 density. So let's jump down and take a look at what we have. I'm gonna summon all these creatures and then buff them up. And here we go. So the only problem we have in this build now, we have a little bit of an issue. It is the mana cost. Because we don't have mana per kill, and we don't have the Mana Leech corrupted Bukatho ring that you normally would play on this character. So we are going to have to chain drink some mana potions for this beta test, but that's okay. You would make sure that you have mana per kill and Mana Leech, or Mana Leech, depends on what you prefer when you play this build on the live servers. So we just have to chain drink some mana pots now. That's okay. But this build is really well equipped to do a lot of damage. I do really like this character a lot. It's a very satisfying build to play as well. And you have the ability to, for instance, jump over walls, jump over rivers, all that kind of stuff when you're playing Enigma. A lot of people, or I'm not going to say a lot, but some people prefer to not play Enigma. And then the best alternative, I think, in my opinion anyway, is probably either 2-socket plus 1 skill corrupted Arcane's Valor, or just a 3-socket Arcane's Valor. Depends on how you look at it. So if that's your jam, go with that. If not, in my opinion, Enigma is the way to go. It can also help you with efficiency if you use it aggressively. It can help you with defense if you use it defensively. It's very versatile armor to use. So as you can see here, the damage is really, really good on these packs. So I'm going to be back with the boss kill, and you can see what kind of damage we do on the boss. There we go. All right, let's try out the boss area here. See what damage this character will do. I'll do obviously do the AoE first, and then we have Power Strike afterwards. And as you can see, the damage is pretty damn crazy. That was a really freaking fast kill. My god. That was a fast kill. That was Power Strike, by the way. That was not Lightning Fury. That we used Power Strike for the boss there. So he got absolutely slapped. So this Lightning Fury build is still in a very good spot. The build is, I would say, about 25-30 high runes right now. It looks a little bit crazier than it is because we have had to make up for the fact that we don't have corruptions with like Cham runes and a really good Griffin. But we don't have Pierce corruptions, we don't have attack speed corruptions. All that stuff is made up for by jewels here. So it looks a little bit more crazy than it has to be just because of that. So Lightning's Fury, if you want to play that, it's a very strong build. That was the test for the first Amazon build. We're going to try now the Multishot changes. Guys, time for the second last build of them all. It's the second build for the Amazon, and I have built a Multishot Boazon. Might not be the strongest build of the Boazon builds right now, but I did really want to make a Multishot Boazon, so that is what we did. I heavily prefer using an Act 5 mercenary over the Act 1 mercenary because of the tanking ability of the mercenary, particularly for hardcore. So that's what I've done. We have built with Beast and Cyclopean, as much buff output for the main character as possible. Then Levy, Laying of Hands, String, and Gores. Swap is CTA and Lidless as usual. We're running Crown of Ages, Tyraels, Witchwild, String, High Lords, War Traps, Laying of Hands, BK, String, and Wisp. And we have some crazy sockets here to make up for the fact that we don't have corruptions. Inventory is just max damage life charms across the board. Torch, Annie, and Geats. The build is as follows with nothing in Javelin. Max guided for single target, max multi for farming corridors, as we're going to see in the throne here in a minute. And in the passive tree, we have maxed Pierce and Penetrate, 19 in Valkyrie to get 2 Valkyries with Battle Command, and we have dumped the rest of the points in Evade. So let's jump into the map and see how we do. Yeah, this is obviously on Players 1. You always play PD2 on Players 1. Alright, here we go. Let me sort that out real quick. So one thing that you're going to see really quickly here is that we don't have a mana leech in the build right now, and that is also because of the lack of corruptions. If you do have an interest in playing this build on live servers, you will obviously play an item that has mana steal in it. I think the damage here is pretty damn good. I wish that the Amplify proc was a little bit more reliable, but you can't really complain too much about the damage output. It is really nice. The mana leech is kind of a yikes though. I have to chug a lot of potions, but that's okay. It's just for testing purposes anyway. You would build this with mana leech when this is on live servers. There is another kind of like method to build this character as well, where you would go Atma Scarab and Wind Force instead of Witchwild String, but it does have a lot lower chance to proc amplify damage. So I think the way that we have built it now is really cool. So as you can see, we have 2350 life approximately. We have 50% curse reduction. You can also do something about that with the corruptions that you will obtain when you play this on live. I think we have 30% damage reduction because we're playing both String of Years and Crown of Ages for 30% DR. So this is probably the safest build you can have as a Boazon, besides if you're playing strafe summons. Yeah, the Valkyries are a little bit lazy sometimes, but can't really expect them to be tanking too well when you only have 19 points in them and you don't have any way of repositioning your mercenary or anything because you're playing Futureals, right? Oh, the mercenary got slapped. Well, that happens sometimes. That does happen sometimes. But I don't really think that there's any need for me to show anymore. You have seen how much damage this does. It's a very cool build. And I hope you will check it out if you are interested in playing the Multishot. So we are going to be back with the next and last build in a couple of seconds. It is time, guys. It is time. It is Saturday night. We have been going at this for 6 days straight to get through all these beta builds that we have been doing. We have even cracked a beer. Na zdrowie, everybody. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Thank you for watching the video on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoy. We are going to test the final Amazon build that we are testing on this beta servers. And we have decided to build a summon zone with strafe support. It's important to know that I'm not trying to build the best strafe zone you can. I'm trying to build a summon zone. I'm trying to build the best summon zone I can, but I'm using strafe as a support spell to proc amplify damage from this Witch Wild string. That is what I'm trying to do. So don't confuse this with a strafe build, because it's not supposed to be a strafe build. And that being said, we have spawned a 244% density River of Blood map, and we're going to go in there. I'm going to show you guys what we are doing here. So we are playing hardcore. I do prefer the Act 5 Mercenary for solo hardcore play. I'm going Beast and Cyclopean for as much physical damage as possible on my summons with the Levy, Laying of Hands, String, and Gores. Character is using the same as before, CTA, Lidless. We're using a Witch Wild for the amplified damage with a 2 passive arrow over here. We are using 220 FCR Amulet, Crown of Ages for the survivability, curse reduction, damage reduction, all that jazz, heavy all res in the jewels. Peace for the extra Valkyrie. We have 2 passive 10 FCR gloves, SOJ Wisp for the Hard Wolverine, Arachnid Smash for the FCR and the skill, and not really sure what to do with boots. You could potentially go like tri-res boots here just to get to boost your resistances. You wouldn't need to have so many gems or jewels in here. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about the boots. They don't really help the build very much. And then we have some max damage right down here. I didn't bother to change these charms from when we tested the physical damage dealer before. You could basically have gone res and life across the board here and then just skipped. You can even skip an entire socket in Koa and just get a much cheaper Koa. You can just get a Koa that has 2 sockets and it will be much better for you. When it comes to currency, I mean. Just Torch, Annie, and Gid, and we have 8 passive skillers. So let's jump down and let's see what this character can do. It's a pretty cool character. So we buff up and we summon these items or these creatures on swap. We didn't actually need to summon the decoys, but we did anyway. The Valkyries we did need to summon. So here we go. I like... Oh, it's this map. Okay. So we are not looking to do any damage whatsoever. We are only looking to proc amplify damage. That's the only thing we are doing as a character. Everything else is up to the summons. So we are just shooting everything that moves here to give it amplify damage, and then the summons will come and clear the table. It's a little jank on an open room like this, but as soon as we get into a hallway or a corridor type situation, like you see over here, it's gonna be a lot different, because the surface area of the attacking force is so much smaller that the cleave starts coming into play. Particularly from the mercenary, but also from the Valkyries. They're using power strike and hitting more than one unit. So as soon as we get to this corridor type map, which means that River of Blood is good. Oh, you found the G phase. Okay, that's not terrible. Throne of Insanity is gonna be good. I think. What's it called? The map that is in Act 4, the Act 4 city kind of graphics. Can't remember. Pandemonium Fortress, that's the one. That's gonna be a really good map. And the fact that you have lightning damage, you have physical damage, we have amplified damage. We have a lot of ways to deal with different monster types and immunities, resistances, all that kind of stuff. As you can see, I haven't resummoned my Valkyrie once. They just slay. The only thing that keeps this build from absolutely being the sickest build in the entire game is a little bit lack of ability, because we're not playing Enigma. But that's, you know, I think this build is very, very cool. Take a look at this. We are just absolutely hammering these units down here. And the summons, they just keep on slaying. As long as you keep remembering to recast your decoys, your damage output is gonna be very, very high. Oh, I summoned the ring instead of the decoy. That wasn't intended. So this is also the reason why we are trying to get ourselves to 68 FCR. We had a couple of chats about it in the channel right now about how to improve the gear, and obviously we don't have any corruptions. So what we are missing, and let me show you the FCR we have. We have 50 FCR. So the thing I would do if I was playing this on the live servers would be I would get 68 FCR. It kind of sounds a little weird because the FCR breakpoints for the Amazon is pretty bad in the first place, but when you realize how often you have to cast Summon Decoy, you will quickly find out that it is probably the easiest way of improving the damage of the character, because you will have more uptime on your summons. They will land faster, you will be able to move forward faster, which means that you will put down the next batch of decoys even quicker. So it's just it's a cascading type of buff where you don't really see it on one individual fight, but if you can imagine that every iteration or every instance you stop to fight an enemy, that it would go half a second faster. So imagine that. How many times do you stop to shoot an enemy? Every time you do that to clear out an enemy pack, it goes half a second faster. That turns out to be a lot of minutes over a day of farming, for instance. Minutes that would allow you to do multiple maps extra per day, which is, again, it is item and rune finding efficiency. If you can do 10 maps a day instead of 8, that would obviously be 20% better. And check out the single target damage on Avunaus here. He's getting absolutely slapped. Yeah, if you don't have a decent breakpoint, you're gonna lose a lot of damage and a lot of time. So I'm gonna skip forward here. I am gonna clear to the final boss of this map. I really did want to show you guys the proper boss damage on the Lister creature. Can't remember exactly his name, but we're gonna go towards him, and I'll be back in a couple of seconds with the final fight and with the conclusion of this guide video project that we have made from the Project Diablo 2 Season 6 beta servers. Here we are at the last boss in this River of Blood map. I'm going to show you guys the boss damage of this build, and you know, we haven't cleared down, so there's going to be other stuff there as well. So give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to rebuff here real quick, like that, and then we go. So decoys up for exactly that reason, to decoy. Clear out, move forward, new decoys on the boss. Oh my lordy lord, check that damage. Holy hell! What was that? that was a... He died like a freaking trash mob. What? Even I wasn't prepared for that. I knew this build had good single target damage, but my goodness, that was insane. He got deleted. Bruh, that guy got hit so hard, his kids were born with a limp. I'm a little shell-shocked right now, how hard that hit. But okay, that is pretty nuts. But that's also going to conclude this Project Diablo 2 beta test video. We have tested 3 characters from each, or three builds from each character. We have tested 21 endgame builds. I do apologize if your favorite build didn't make the cut this season. There's just too many builds to test. We cannot get through them all. We have been going 6 days straight to get through these with the early game video as well. So thank you so much for watching this endgame guide video on Project Diablo 2 Beta Season 6. I hope you did enjoy it. Don't forget to leave the comments underneath the video and tell me how your season is going. Until the next video, take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you guys soon.